So in the fitness industry, the same debate has been going on for years. Which is the hardest starting position? Starting from being really fat or starting from being really skinny? In my opinion, the hardest starting position is that middle ground, being skinny fat. This is where I personally started my fitness journey, and it's hands down the most common starting position I've dealt with as a coach. This can be a very confusing position to be in because you're unsure of whether to cut or bulk first. So in this video, I'm going to break down all the do's and don'ts that I've learned along the way from going from skinny fat to shredded. So for me personally, I went through both extremes. I went from starving myself to going through an unnecessary dirty bulk. And if there's one thing for sure, both of these methods are wrong. So here's exactly what you do. So the reality of the situation is that at this current moment, you're holding on to too much excess fat. So your number one priority right now is to cut that fat and get lean enough to a point where you can see abs. So to do that, you're going to have to nail three main things. And the first is finding your maintenance calories. Now, a lot of these sites aren't 100% accurate, but they will give you a good idea where you need to start. So go on to Google, type in calorie calculator, put in all your details, and then that will give you a rough idea of what your maintenance calories is. Once you have your maintenance calories, you're going to want to take about 200 to 300 off that number. So for example, if your maintenance calories is 2500, your deficit calories would then be 2200. So that means each day you're going to eat 2200 calories. Simple. So now that we've covered input, which is what's going into your body, we're going to cover output, which is your expenditure. So in terms of output, we're going to look at two main things: steps and cardio. For steps, I like to keep it super simple, aiming for at least 8 to 10,000 each day. 8 to 10,000 steps can help burn anywhere from 300 to 500 calories per day. The second thing is cardio. Now this by no means is essential, but it'll 100% accelerate your results. So I would start out by doing 20 minutes of low intensity cardio 3 to 4 times per week. When I say low intensity cardio, I mean the likes of an incline treadmill walk or the Stairmaster. The main thing here is that you want to be aiming to get your heart rate anywhere from 130 to 140 beats per minute and holding that down for the entire 20 minutes. When you combine these two things, you'll begin to notice that your body weight will start to cruise down. One thing that's going to happen eventually and leads to most people giving up is your weight stalling. So as your weight is going down, you are literally becoming a smaller human. So what was once a calorie deficit for you is no longer a deficit. It's now your new maintenance. So to fix this and get us back on track towards losing fat, we can do one of two things. The first one is taking a further 100 to 200 calories off your deficit. So originally you were eating 2200, your new deficit is now going to be 2000. So in other words, you're decreasing your input. Second option is increasing your output. So now, instead of doing 10,000 steps a day and 20 minutes of cardio 4 times per week, we're now going to aim for 12,000 steps a day and 25 minutes cardio 4 times per week. So when your weight stalls, doing one of these two things will help get you back on track towards your fat loss. Now, the third thing that you have to focus on is your training. So a common misconception a lot of people have, and one I had myself when losing fat, is that diet is the only thing that matters, but this actually could not be further from the truth. Your training, especially in a fat loss phase, is just as, if not more important than your diet. The reason being, training is what's actually going to build muscle, and muscle is what's really going to change your physique, especially if you're starting from that skinny fat position. So if you're starting out, I keep things super simple. Aim to hit the gym 3 times per week. You can literally do something simple like 3 full body sessions. All that matters is that each week you're trying to beat your previous numbers. So that means either doing more reps or more weight than last week. This is called progressive overload. And this is the quickest and most effective way to build muscle. If you stick to those 3 things consistently for 3 months, I can guarantee that by the end of those 3 months, you will see visible abs. And once you see visible abs, we'll then move on to the next phase. And this phase is where the physique is really built. So because I starved myself for so long, I got really skinny. I got to a point where I was really frustrated and I said, fuck this, I'm going on a huge bulk. That was the start of one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my fitness journey. For the next few months, all I focused on was eating everything in sight. It did not matter to me in the slightest if it was nutrient dense or not. If it had a high amount of calories in it, I was eating it. Doing this for a prolonged period of time led me to gaining tons of unnecessary fat. Now, although I gained a lot of strength and size, I was by no means happy with what I seen in the mirror. So instead of going on a ridiculous dirty bulk like I did, here's what you actually do. So you've just come out your fat loss phase. You now have visible abs and it's the best you've ever felt about your physique. Now while confidence is at an all-time high, so is hunger. They have the idea in their head that they're now on a big bulk and they just begin to take in stupid amount of calories like I did. But having the right discipline in this stage is essential. When you come out of this fat loss phase, your body is going to be the most sensitive it's ever been to gaining fat. So that means you have to take this lean bulk nice and slow. That means adding a very slight amount of calories week by week. I'm talking 50 to 100 and only if needed. If your strength in the gym is consistently going up, you're on more than enough calories. It's only when your body weight or strength begins to stall should you add more calories. Now if you stick to this phase for a further 12 weeks or even longer, this is where your physique is really going to change. You're going to build actual lean muscle and feel the strongest you've ever felt. Now by the end of it, it'll be totally normal to be holding on to some excess fat. This is where we do what's called a tidy up phase. A tidy up phase is a really quick dieting period. I'm talking 6 to 8 weeks. This is going to help reveal the true gains that we've built over the last couple of months on this gaining phase. So all of these phases I've spoke about up until now are realistically in a 6 month to a year period. Now that might sound like a long time to some people, but the truth is building a well-rounded and respectable physique takes time. So rushing into either of these phases and taking both of them to the extreme like I did is just not the move. So trust me, if you apply yourself properly for the next 6 months to a year and go through all of these phases with full adherence, you will be unrecognisable by the end of it. And if you're looking for more of a tailored approach with one-to-one support and coaching by me, I've helped hundreds of men transform their body and mind. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I'm going to leave the application link for one-to-one coaching in the description of this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be dropping more videos like this, and also make sure to drop a like and a comment. Thanks for watching.